Imagine, for a moment, a universal scale that runs from 0 to 10, where 0 represents the most ordinary of cosmic wanderers, icy comets, dusty asteroids, predictable space rocks silently obeying the ancient rules of gravity, and 10 represents a fully technological craft, maneuvering with precision, broadcasting signals, and acting with intent. For weeks, astronomers confidently placed the interstellar visitor known as 3I Atlas close to 0, classifying it as just another icy traveler from the dark interstellar gulf. A curiosity but not a threat, yet that certainty was shattered in a single, breathtaking instant. Without warning, Atlas unleashed a powerful, coherent beam of light, not diffused like a comet's tail, not scattered aimlessly across space, but sharply directed, aimed straight toward Mars. The phenomenon resembled a colossal cosmic lighthouse sweeping its brilliant ray across the inner solar system, a focused spear of energy piercing millions of kilometers with impossible precision. To seasoned scientists, the event was both awe-inspiring and terrifying, raising immediate questions. Was this some bizarre accident of natural physics, a cosmic fluke born from unknown chemistry and solar interaction? Or was it something far more deliberate, the calculated action of an object older, stranger, and far beyond anything humanity has yet conceived? And if Atlas has the capability to focus its energy toward Mars, then the darker, more unsettling question follows naturally: what happens if Earth is next? For centuries, comets have represented predictability in astronomy. They are the steady metronomes of the solar system, orbiting in tidy ellipses, brightening gradually as sunlight warms their icy skins, and streaming out long tails of gas and dust that obediently point away from the sun like vast, celestial windsocks. Scientists can predict their brightness curves months, sometimes years, in advance with the comfort of mathematics. But 3I Atlas refused to play by those rules. From the very first observations, it seemed determined to shred every expectation, behaving not like a natural comet but like the unruly rebel of the cosmos, a teenager defying the laws that have governed celestial mechanics for over 4 billion years. Instead of the graceful, measured brightening astronomers have come to expect, Atlas threw what can only be described as cosmic tantrums. Its light curve didn't rise smoothly but erupted suddenly, spiking from near invisibility at 18th magnitude to a clear and easily detectable 12th magnitude overnight, then collapsing back again without warning. These weren't the subtle, patient changes of a comet warming under the sun. They were explosive transformations that left seasoned astronomers staring at their screens in disbelief, wondering if their instruments were broken, and yet the readings were real. The source of the illumination seemed to be not the coma of dust and gas that normally surrounds a comet, but the very surface itself, glowing as though the snowball of interstellar ice had developed a mind of its own and decided to generate light from within. Around the world, professional observatories accustomed to the quiet behavior of comets found themselves forced to contemplate explanations that belonged less to textbooks and more to the realm of science fiction. From the very beginning, Atlas displayed a defiance that made astronomers rethink the very foundations of cometary science. Normally, as icy bodies journey closer to the sun, they warm gradually, sublimating frozen gases and releasing dust, creating a predictable light curve that rises smoothly like a slow crescendo. But Atlas acted as if bound by no such laws. Its brightness surged erratically, bursting into sudden brilliance and then collapsing without any traceable rhythm, resembling a chaotic stock market chart rather than the elegant mathematics of celestial mechanics. This was not the hesitant shimmer of dust escaping ice. It was violent, theatrical, and impossible to model. Even its color betrayed expectation. Instead of transitioning slowly as different ices evaporated at various distances, Atlas shifted hues with dramatic speed, flipping from red to green far earlier and faster than any known chemical process should allow. like a cosmic mood ring responding to forces invisible to us. Then came the phenomenon that truly shook the confidence of astronomers everywhere: the orientation of its so-called tail. Every comet ever studied has obeyed the most basic principle. Its tail points away from the sun, sculpted by radiation pressure and the solar wind. It is Astronomy 101, but Atlas produced a forward-pointing beam, a luminous spear aimed directly toward the sun, a phenomenon captured in crisp detail by Hubble images. This was no faint illusion, no temporary anomaly. It was a sharp, enduring structure, stretching 10 times farther in the sunward direction than in any other, holding its form across millions of kilometers. Natural scattering cannot produce such disciplined focus. To maintain such a beam requires an organizing force, something actively shaping and sustaining the direction, as though the object itself possessed intent. For astronomers, this was uncharted territory, an event that could not be forced into existing models, not with the equations that explained centuries of comet behavior. And as if its defiance of physics wasn't enough, Atlas carried another surprise hidden in its chemical signature. Spectroscopic readings revealed a composition that seemed almost like a parody of the periodic table: a staggering 87% carbon dioxide, 9% carbon monoxide, and a mere 4% water. This is the opposite of what a comet should be. Comets are dirty snowballs dominated by water ice mixed with dust and rock. But Atlas was almost waterless, resembling instead a block of exotic carbon chemistry. Stranger still, scientists detected nickel unaccompanied by iron. In every natural environment we know, from planetary cores to asteroids to meteors, nickel and iron appear as inseparable twins, forged together under identical cosmic conditions. The absence of iron with the presence of nickel implies something else entirely. Either Atlas formed in a physical environment unlike any we have catalogued, or the material was artificially refined, designed, or manufactured. It was as if the object were signed in an alien language, its ink composed of elements combined in ways human science cannot explain. By the time Atlas approached its closest passage, the debate within the scientific community had shifted from curiosity to alarm. It was no longer a matter of whether the object was unusual, it was a matter of what it truly represented. The strange nickel-heavy chemistry, the unnatural forward-pointing beam, and the unpredictable flares of brightness all painted the portrait of something that did not belong to the quiet randomness of nature. As more instruments locked onto it, researchers noticed yet another chilling anomaly: its rotational stability. Natural comets tumble chaotically, their irregular shapes causing wobbling spins that shift over time as jets of escaping gas act like thrusters. But Atlas maintained a rigid, disciplined rotation, turning with clockwork precision as though controlled by an internal gyroscope. Even as volatile eruptions burst from its surface, the spin rate remained unchanged, a feat impossible for any natural fragment of rock and ice. This raised questions no one wanted to voice openly. Was Atlas not a comet at all, but rather an engineered vessel disguised in cometary clothing? Some within NASA whispered of a probe, a dormant artifact from another civilization, camouflaged to masquerade as a harmless traveler. Others speculated it might be a fragment of interstellar industry, a shard of technology cast off by beings who harness physics we cannot yet comprehend. The most unnerving hypothesis, however, came from analysts studying the trajectory shifts. Atlas did not merely follow the pull of gravity. At key intervals, its orbit corrected itself in subtle but unmistakable ways, veering slightly as if making decisions to optimize its path. These course corrections, too precise to be random, hinted at active navigation. Even more disturbing, the path brought it not just through our solar system, but perilously close to Earth's neighborhood. As if its detour was no accident, governments demanded silence, but leaks spread across observatories and amateur astronomer forums. A forward beam, a carbon dioxide composition, a nickel signature without iron. Each clue spread like wildfire online. Ordinary citizens, reading between the lines of cryptic NASA press releases, began to suspect that Atlas was more than an interstellar tourist. Was it scouting, observing, testing? If Atlas were a machine, its behavior seemed exploratory, almost as though it were mapping gravitational wells and chemical abundances in preparation for something larger yet unseen. And then came the most dramatic revelation as Atlas approached perihelion. High-resolution imaging revealed faint geometric shadows along its nucleus, shapes too angular, too regular to be mistaken for random cliffs or ridges, triangular panels, hexagonal frames, architectural echoes etched against the black canvas of space. To dismiss them as tricks of light became impossible once independent. Telescopes confirmed identical patterns. In that instant, the comforting boundary between science fiction and scientific reality dissolved. Humanity was no longer peering at a comet but at evidence of intelligence ancient, foreign, and operating at scales we can barely imagine. The object once called Atlas had become something else entirely, a riddle from the stars and perhaps a warning.